Welcome back to the Football Terrace Top 6 show. Sorry for being late. I was caught on the M25. It was my fault. But big breaking news this afternoon. Liverpool are not, I repeat, Liverpool are not for sale. Hassam, where you at? Where you at, bruv? You told Liverpool fans it was done. You said Qatar had phoned you and said Liverpool had new owners. We're going to delve into that today. We're going to look at Man United's title hopes and takeover. I've got a few things to say about that as well. We're going to be looking at Spurs' bounce, putting themselves back in the top four. Liverpool, although they've had the bad news today, are in the top four race as well. I know Have Hope's got a lot to say about Graham Potter and his potential sacking, plus Arsenal back top of the league after they had crumbled, after they'd fallen apart, after their season was over, after they proved themselves to be a bunch of p***s. But we're going to delve into all of that and much, much more. My panel are here. What an elite panel we've got tonight. Young Tommy up there was happy until the news broke about Liverpool earlier on. We've got George, who's back now that Spurs are back. And honestly, no Conte, more parties, I think, is the way to look at it. Kaz is here repping United today after another emphatic win in the second half from Manchester United. Igawa is here, ready. No calling anyone out or threatening anyone today. Igawa, we're all scared of you now, bruv. Man showed that chest. And of course, Have Hope is here, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. Sebastian from West London. How is everyone? Everyone good?
Very, very well.
Gucci, all Gucci, man. All Gucci.
3 days can change a lot of things.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. We're just,
I feel Qatari as well, and I live there for a month, so I'm basically Qatari, and so yeah, bruv, I'm all about that life, brother. I'm all about that Qatari. Sorry, I'm all about that life. But we'll get on to Man United a bit later. I did want to start with Liverpool because they had a really good result of the weekend, beating Newcastle away. I think I predicted 2-1. They won 2-0. Some chances for Newcastle, but Liverpool won, back in the top four race. But the owner of Liverpool Football Club has today announced that John Henry has said Liverpool are not for sale. It's been on the market for 3 months. They've had no offers to buy it. Qatar wanted to do a bit of investment, and Liverpool said no. It's now off the market. FFG are going to stay. How you feeling, Tommy? How you feeling, little Tommy?
Not exactly great. I mean, my biggest gripe with it is the fact that it's come out the day before our biggest game of the season. Like, you could have just waited till afterwards. You could, I don't know why you've got to try and throw all this up the day beforehand. But look, I've been FSG out for years, and it's got nothing to do with the transfers. So all these people that are sitting there going, they're not investing enough in the squad, that's fine. But that's not why I am. And look, they've said, but the club's not for a full sale, it's for a minority one. We're looking for minority investment, and they've got hope that can go through. They're here to stay, and that's an issue in itself. But look, what they have to do now, if they stay in charge of this football club, is not only they need to pull their finger out. They've managed to get away with it for a couple of years now because we were outperforming massively what we were, investing. We were investing like a top four club, and we're competing for titles and Champions Leagues. If they're to stay, they've got to evolve with the times. We're no longer that club. We haven't been that for years, but you got away with it. You've got to now step up the investment. You've got to now financially compete with the rest, because that is the level that we're at. And this is what this new investment should do. I don't want to see this new investment go and fund, LA, whatever, in NBA, or, let's go buy an American football team, or, let's go buy a bloody rugby team or something. This investment has to go to Liverpool Football Club. And not only does it have to be sizable to compete with the other top clubs so we can stay there, it also has to be sustained. I can't do, we'll go 300 million 1 year, but then you're not going to get anything else for the next 3 because we need to try and recoup that back. No. It has to be sustained. That is the only way we're going to get this success. I don't trust them to do it. My trust for them is it's been gone for 4 years now. So I don't trust them to do it. But that's what they have to do. And if they don't do that, we won't be back for 10 years plus. Because the gap is just opening so wide now.
Tom, you have to have more hope,
do what
man.
we're doing.
You need to have hope, right? Hope.
No,
Yeah,
because
have
hope. We're gonna end up with Mason Mount as our marquee player. He's awful. We're gonna be
Which is
told
good.
to It's not.
Tom, that is a great no, Tom. No, Tom. So
Have hope. Look,
I'm going to call you Tom
you know
Big.
what? I can't do
call
it.
you Tom
I
Big Boy.
can't do it. No, because you're going to try and sell me Henderson 2.0, who got dropped in the World Cup for Henderson 1.0. He's not even
Wait,
better than the
Tom,
old model.
what you on about,
Wait,
lad?
hold
Henderson's
on.
your best ever
Tom, let me
captain.
make
Put some respect
example.
on his name.
Wait, Tom. Let me make an argument here, Tom. It's all doom and gloom and so forth, but on the issue of Mount is a better version of Henderson because he's technically better. He's a much better footballer, and he gives you the legs and the energy. Mount will greatly improve you. But on this whole Liverpool takeover thing, look, here's the thing. I mean, the fact that Liverpool were on the cusp of having the Qataris, and FSG rejected them, and now you're going to give these guys to Man United, which I think is a horror story in and of itself. I think it's horrible because, I mean, I feel that you're painting far too much of a doom and gloom picture because who knows? Maybe FSG will maybe do the right things and so forth because I just feel there's way too much negativity among Liverpool fans that this is going to be horrible.
And maybe pigs will fly next. Who knows? You know, FSG haven't done this in their what is it now? 12 years. This is their 12th year at this football club, and they have not once invested a sizable amount of their own money, of their own backing, apart from the first summer they were here, and that went well when we ended up with the likes of Joe Cole, Paul Konchesky, and Charlie Adam. So there's literally no evidence that we are going to be able to compete at the top level. The only thing I've got hope with is the fact that, you know, there's been news about we've finally all the turnover in the staff. You know, we lost our director of football, we lost our head of scout and our head of data. We're finally starting to actually fill them positions now. So I can only assume that we are setting up a structure again. And this structure has to be not only as good as it was before, but it has to also follow the same rules. Jurgen Klopp cannot be in charge of transfers. Pep Linders cannot be in charge of transfers. Leave them to do the coaching. Leave them to do that. These people who we employ for this have to come and do that.
Though? Do you trust Klopp now that this is his situation now? Do you trust Klopp with this situation right now? Because I've said it to Liverpool fans. Klopp is a great first phase manager. I'm not sure whether he's good in the second phase. Now, what's up? You said what's up to Everton. Said what's up to Newcastle. Who knows? I think you've got a very good chance against Real Madrid. But I'm not sure whether long term Klopp has the managerial skill to rebuild this team. Do you still trust him to rebuild this team? Or are you with me in the sense of if Liverpool want to move forward, you've got to sack him and bring somebody new?
I've said since January this year, at the end of the season, his position needs to be under serious review under how we're going to proceed forwards because, like you said, we're going into a different phase, which is not traditionally the hardest thing for managers to do. Mourinho has never done this part of management. Guardiola's never done this part of management. The only ones I can remember are Wenger and Fergie, who were able to build up a very successful team, tear it down, and rebuild it again in a quick enough time frame. Jurgen Klopp is very loyal.
Wait, Pep, what did you say? Pep Guardiola? Like he kind of did that with Man City.
I was about to say, Pep
Manchester
sort of
City.
But has he tore it down? Like
yes, go check how many players he got rid of in his first season to his second season and see who he bring in.
Yes, I'm not on about first season. I'm on about you. He built this team up to where it was. He now has to tear down that team he built and do it all over again.
So a team that's basically nothing going into something.
No, it's not. It's not about how good the team is. It's about the mentality the manager's got. So it's very easy when you come into a job and you've got no loyalty to players to just go to be very ruthless and cut them off. Whereas now Jurgen Klopp, he's so loyal to these players that he's had for 7 years. I don't know if I trust him to look at Henderson, look at Fabinho, look at Joe Gomez and these men and go, I need you out the door. I need you to go and I need you to go now. I don't know if he's going to sit there and go, well, you've done so much for me in your career. You don't want to go. I'll keep you around because you're a good, you got a good atmosphere down the dressing room. You've done something 4 years ago.
He's not ruthless.
Listen, they have to take it off the market. If they're not getting bids, they have to take it off the market based on the fact that the valuation of the club could go down.
I'm not bothered about all that.
No, you don't, Tom. We've got the perfect investors for you.
And number two, with the whole thing where Manchester United are about to get taken over and you guys were looking like you're going to get taken over. I know it's a sad moment right now, but understand if you go have the summer that you're expecting to have, which you guys said you're going to have in the summer anyways, everything's just going to get pushed down the can. It might not happen this year. They might not sell this year, but even if they do sell a minority share, who's to say that minority owner doesn't want to eventually get the full ownership of the club? So right now,
maybe
it's not the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. FSG might not be staying forever. You could still get rid of them. But the reality is, in the short term, this now puts pressure on them to actually deliver the signings that you needed. And that's maybe a positive. You can look at it.
Again, no, they were not all gone in the same window. We need to let them all go in the same window. We need to do a major overhaul in one window. Sane and I think Sane and Aguero. No, Sane left in one window.
How
Then
many players do you
Aguero
need
left.
gone? Name them.
The players that we need gone. Fabinho,
Milner.
Gomez, Milner, Ox, Keita, Jones, probably Roberto Firmino as well, and Henderson. I'd like him to go, but I don't mind if he takes on a reduced role.
You get rid of 8 players. How many players do you think you could actually sign in one window?
6, 7.
And starting with Mount. How's
that unrealistic?
because the amount of money to fill 6 to 7 quality players in each position, depending on which positions you're looking for, and if they're starters or if they're bench players.
But stage by stage, no. But Egal, here's my thing. Tom is fully right, but not all in one window. But the whole idea for Klopp is this is the whole great about Klopp. You are going for a quadruple. I believe Liverpool played the most games I think a team can play in a season, especially when you're a league that has 2 trophies. So they played the most maximum number of games. If ever there was a season for Liverpool to rebuild, it was last season when they played a crazy 60 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 60 plus games.
They've got it absolutely wrong, Liverpool, and you've got to know when to do it. And Man United towards the back end of Fergie, because the new TV deal money hadn't come in then. The Glazers weren't spending they weren't spending. If you look at the last 3 or 4 years of Man United under Fergie, we weren't spending big money. We were saying things like there's no value in the market for Aguero. We didn't have the money to spend. The reason that the money started being spent under Moyes is the new TV deal money came in by then. That literally saved Man United what the Premier League's money came in as. And we should have replaced Vidic and Rio and Evra and Scholes and Giggs 2 or 3 years before they're finished. And that's how great clubs operate. And Fergie in his first 2 or 3 rebuilds was replacing his stars before his stars had faded. Because what that then gives you, it gives you a little bit of time to sort of integrate the new players. And if the new players don't work, you've still got time to find somebody else. When you allow players to go past their best, and then you're buying in new individuals, if they don't hit the ground running, you're left with this hole, which is no one's there to goddamn perform. And Liverpool have just got it wrong. Klopp's never rebuilt a team. And it's a very, very, very.
We tried to run it back one more time. We got so unlucky last year with not getting that quadruple in the club's eyes. So they've all sat there and went, let's try one more time. And it's one too many. So instead of last summer, we wouldn't have needed 6. We would have only needed about 3 or 4.
I remember Gunners complaining in the summer of I think it was one. It may have been after you won the league in 2002. It might have been in 2004, where you won the league and you did very, very well. And then in the summer, there was barely a signing. And Arsenal fans that I knew and grew up with, this was well before social media. Nobody was clout chasing back then. They were fuming. They were like the arrogance to not think we have to improve still. Following year, they didn't win the league. And there was a case of if we'd have just bought well and invested, you've always got to look to improve your squad. In terms of Liverpool on the pitch, though, in the short term, 2 wins on the bounce, a good win away at Newcastle. Surely they have to be looked at as a genuine contender for that final Champions League spot with Tottenham and Newcastle now. What are you saying, George? Are you worried about them challenging you? Because you've just gone into it, but of course your form isn't great. Newcastle are sort of sinking at the moment, and Liverpool look like they're on a mini resurgence. Do you think they can catch you or at least join you in this race for the final Champions League spot?
I think they'll definitely join us. I don't think that they'll catch us. Just like us, their form is choppy. I mean, look, we've seen how good we can play on our day, and then we've seen how bad Tottenham can also play. But I also trust in our team to maintain playing at a decent level and keep winning the games that we got ahead of us. I know we got Chelsea coming up, but after that game, we've got a good, decent run of fixtures where we can pick up some points. And yeah, Liverpool are good though. We're not going to take that away from them. If they win both of their games in hand, they go a point behind us. But I don't think they'll win both our games in hand. I'm not scared, Neeks, not at all. Again, I've said it all along. I don't think that they're going to be playing in the Champions League. I quite comfortably think that they're going to finish 6th or 7th, but they're going to be there till the end. And whether they trail off at the end, we'll see.
Wait, Jordan. Of course you're scared, man. Jordan, come on, bro. So you're not worried about Liverpool coming through, Charles Darwin doing his thing, Gakpo doing his thing. Come on, at Tottenham, they're literally the most unpredictable team in this league. Like, at the moment,
Liverpool
are making top 4.
But you're acting like Liverpool have been doing this for a long time. This is just their second win of 2022,
But
2023.
they're back.
They've done 2 wins in a row. Does not mean that they're back.
Joe,
And Tom knows that better than anyone else. You've got 2 wins in a row, and that's 2 wins in a row for how long?
2 games in hand.
Yeah, but you know what though, George. You know what though. The only reason why I'd say it's potentially not the same as before is this time we're actually playing well. When we had them spells before, even when we beat Hughes and we had that run of form before the World Cup, we were still awful, but we would just somehow finding ways to get through. Now I'm starting to see signs. I'm starting to see patterns of play. I'm starting to see spells of sustained dominance in games. And the mad thing is, we got worse when they went down to 10 men for some reason. We got worse, and that won't happen every game. What we are doing now is we're getting players back from injury. We've got Jota coming back. We've got Firmino coming back. Van Dijk's back. Diaz is, I think, a couple of weeks away. And Canate is a week or 2 away. Once they're all back and we're fully fit, I don't see why we can't build upon this spell of form, because now, for the first time this season, there's an air of positivity around on-the-pitch performances from the football club. And that is all that we needed. And I think
you're going too far with that, because just everything you're saying on that. Then what about Tottenham when they have 2 wins and then go get chopped or whatever? Then they're doing exactly the same.
Because I find that
you can have Diaz and that, but the Papa San skip look better than flipping Bentancur and Højbjerg in the middle at the moment.
No, the one thing that we're not getting is that this is the crunch time of the season, Tom. You're playing 2 games a week now, so this is the time when you're gonna have more things happen.
Are you seriously trying to? Have I got a Tottenham fan? Hold on a minute.
You seem to be forgetting, because right now you were struggling when you're playing 1 game a week.
No. I've got a Tottenham fan. I have a Tottenham fan, Bottle Job Hotspur, trying to tell me that my team won't handle it in crunch time. But Tottenham Hotspur in crunch time will.
Your team's a completely different
your team will though. You're telling me your team will handle it.
You're
telling me your team will handle it in crunch time.
We've seen your team.
We beat you. We beat you this season. We beat you.
Well, you beat us, and we're still above you comfortably, Tom. So what are we talking about?
That's boss.
I'm still above
I wouldn't say comfortably. There's games in hand. I've got a Tottenham Hotspur fan trying to tell me that my team will
and all of a sudden you forgot where your team is. Come on, man.
Don't forget. You can't do this. Don't forget to call him a pussy as well.
How many points is Tottenham ahead of him?
7 points, but we've got 2 games in hand.
One against Chelsea away, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
not Chelsea.
Hang on, but that's Chelsea. That's a guaranteed 3 points. To be honest,
that's a guaranteed draw. That's a ball fest.
I don't know.
Did they not play each other? Just not.
Yeah, 0-0.
Can you imagine Liverpool playing on a tight pitch like Chelsea's? There is no technical ability really in that team whatsoever. You're going to see Gakpo and Nunes fall over each other until Diaz comes back. Probably that's different story.
So Kaz, are you saying though there's no chance of Liverpool making this top 4?
No, you know what? Actually, no. I tell a lie. I think they're going to make a resurgence. I can't lie, but it's going to be a blip at Anfield when we batter them at Anfield 2-0 or something like that. But that's fine. Like we still got to go to Tottenham, and we'll definitely take points from Tottenham.
There's a question here for George. It says, where do Tottenham fans get this chest from? That's for you, George.
In the gym, man. We bench it. You know.
No, because it's like we saw Tottenham's best chance to win the league when Leicester won the league. You had it there when the pressure was on. You ended up going from potentially
all
winning
this
the league
talk.
to
Leicester was like
so
5,
if there's
10
one
points
team
ahead
that
of
can
us the
handle
whole time.
pressure, it's
I'm
you
sorry,
boys.
but Leicester was 5 points ahead of us the whole time. They just confirmed their win earlier because we drew at Stamford Bridge. That's all it was.
Can I make a request, please? Can I make a request quickly, Terry? Can me and a gal get put to the top of the thing because we're actually above these teams, and I think it only makes sense.
I like that. That's true.
Yeah.
We do it in order of where everybody is in the league.
That's what I like to see.
Me as the host. Actually, do you know what I'll even do? No, I'll stay here as the host.
I'll stay there as the host.
We'll put it in order. We'll put it in order there. We'll put it in order.
No.
If we're being really honest with where Chelsea are, Have Hope should be off the screen, really. That's where he should be. I'm not going to lie.
He's one of them. You got 3-2-1.
Little bros, what you saying down there, man?
How you doing?
Little bros.
Look, we're still on the Liverpool topic, man. We're not on that topic. We're still on the Liverpool topic, man. No, look, for me, no, I honestly believe that. No, let's see, because I feel that Sadio, that aka LDO, is still missed from Liverpool. But yes, 100%. But Nunes, and you always want to get that your first goal. I think once Gakpo got his first goal, boom, it's calmed the nerves. Now got the goal again. So for me, it's if it's okay, who would you put your money on? For me, Newcastle, they're out because I always knew the Newcastle were never going to do this because Newcastle, I just think that they had like a really good push. They just can't win too many games, and I think they're going to draw a whole lot of games. And when you just look at things mathematically, if you have wins and losses, but you have a whole bunch of draws, the guys with wins and losses are going to come through. But my thing though is, okay, who's going to put your money down? Liverpool or Tottenham to make that top four?
Do you know it's difficult, right? I think for me, if Liverpool win a couple more, I don't want them to win the next league game is at Man United. I don't want them to win the next couple of league games because one of them is against Man United. But if they start to win more, then I back Liverpool. However, points on the board for me are always worth more than games in hand because we see things slip up. So right now, if I'm picking one of the two, I'm going with Tottenham. But I do think Liverpool are in the race. I don't think Liverpool are going to finish 10, 15, 20 points behind the top four, like it maybe was looking a few weeks ago. I think they will have a bit of resurgence. I've got a super chat here I want to go to, though. It says Spuds say this is a different Liverpool team now based on this season. But when someone says this is a different Arsenal team now, George says, no, it's not.
Because I've been proven right, man. This Arsenal team's bottle jobs. They already have. Yes, they got their one little very, very lucky win against Aston Villa. But we'll get into that a bit soon. But I haven't been proven wrong by this Arsenal team.
We'll get into that a little bit later. So everyone's agreeing that Liverpool are in the top four race. Which of you think they're going to make it?
I don't. You know what though? I don't want us to, but we will. I don't want us to, but we will.
You don't.
I don't want us to because then FSG will have been vindicated for a lack of spending. They'll have gotten away with it once again by underselling us.
I think Brighton have got more of a chance to get top four than Liverpool this season.
Wow. A big shout there, viewers. What do you think? Who's going to make the final top? Just write your top four teams to finish in the top four. All of them in order from first to fourth, please. In the comments section now, let us know. Joshua Jack here says, just because you wear white doesn't mean you're Real Madrid. Is what Joshua Jack has got to say here. Who's going to get that in? Who's going to get it in first? Who's going to get the top four in first? I would like to know who's the quickest at typing. Here we go. Harry was the first one I saw that said City, Arsenal, United, Brighton.
What? Give me a break. Give me a break.
Ron says City, Arsenal, United, Spurs. Jamie here says Arsenal, United, City, Liverpool. Who else we got here? We got Arsenal, City, Man United, Fulham. United, City. This one here, City, United, Arsenal, Newcastle. Very Viper's got Arsenal coming in third there, Third there, But we will see. Moving on, we're gonna Man United's takeover. We know that the Qatari bid's in. The Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid is in. There is talk of an offer that's come in that's going to allow the Glazers to stay. The Qataris are still seen as the bookies' favourite as it stands right now. But I kind of want to focus on the Qatari bid because it's had a lot of a negative attention in the last couple of days from some journalists. And as I tweeted out today, some of these journalists I saw at Qatari-funded parties in Qatar where the Qataris pay for the food. I mean, you talk about entertainers that you turn up to these events and you'd be like, oh, this looks like a good event. It'd be free food. There'd be free drink, alcoholic drinks as well. The venue was plush, all free, even like travel. So you'd get to a location by taxi and then they'd put you in these minibuses and drive you to a place. It was amazing, right? And then you'd be sitting there just having a good time, not thinking much about it. And then suddenly they'd pop Neo out, Sean Paul out as artists they paid to come and bring along. And everyone had a good time. And I saw some of these journalists there having a good time, courtesy of the same people they're criticizing. And Miguel Delaney is also a hypocrite in this. And I want to call this out.
I'm so glad he said that.
And I want to call out Miguel Delaney personally because he's condemning it. And on the surface, it's based on human rights violations. And it's like, okay, I can accept that you're an individual of moral fiber. But then you do 2 minutes of research and you realize the guy's a hypocrite. And I'll tell you as to why. He's a chief football writer for The Independent. The Independent newspaper has two main owners. The first one is a Russian billionaire whose money derives from his father, who's a Russian oligarch and a former KGB officer. They did some great things. And the other majority shareholder in his newspaper is a Sultan Mohammed from Saudi Arabia. So again, when it comes to people like Miguel Delaney, I've got to say this, and I've got to say it with chest. I would take him more seriously if he quit his job when worked for another newspaper. I can't stand virtue signalers. If you're against it, and there's like one journalist and broadcaster in recent history who always gets a lot of credit from me. I don't remember his name now. He's an Irish guy who supports Liverpool that worked for TalkSport. And then when TalkSport were acquired by the owners of The Sun, he quit his job. Someone will remember his name in the comments. I don't remember his name now. He used to present Match of the Day too as well. That's what I call integrity. By the way, I see a lot of Liverpool supporters that say no to The Sun in their profiles, but yet they go on TalkSport because they get clout, right? How can you do that if you're against them? I have got such a big issue with these virtue signaling sons of guns. Some of them that I saw at parties, they were happy to sit there and rub shoulders with Qatari people, princes, royalty, very high up people, wealthy people, and say how amazing their country was, drink their drink, eat their food. There's some that are willing to work for people that money was derived from quote unquote dodgy means. But yeah, when it comes to Man United being purchased by them, they want to sit there and they want a virtue signal. By the way, Colin Murray was his name. Colin Murray was the individual's name. I'm just sick and tired of this fake moral outrage. It's just absolute pony. I don't know about you, Kaz, but as a United fan, I called this out with Newcastle. I called it out with City as well. I knew it was going to come with Man United. But now that I've actually personally witnessed the hypocrisy of these individuals, I'm just bereft at the hypocrisy, if I'm being honest.
Call it out for what it is passive racism. So it is that, and whether you like it or not, accept it or not, that's the reality of it. If you don't understand what the word passive racism means, go search up on Google. I'm pretty sure it'll give you that thing. It's pretty much what a lot of Londoners are like. But anyways, I don't mind. All I ever want is, you always say separate football from politics, but everyone wants to do politics when it comes to Man United. Another one, Samuel Luckhurst talking about, Saudis with, tea towels on their head. Like, that isn't, disgusting to even say. Another one, if you want to dip into issues with billionaires, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you want this guy, Brexit guy, all this cool stuff, but yet he's doing more damage into the earth, which is somewhere where we actually live, and all that kind of stuff, doing all that greatness, but yet you still want some board members of the Glazers to be around for part ownership, but he's the savior though, right? Doing such a great job with Nice, right? So is that right, Nice? OGC Nice. So yeah, amazing. It's just that this media-driven stuff is absolutely disgusting. And I wouldn't actually be surprised if that's Jim Ratcliffe asking for favors within the British media to try and get people up. This whole 2/3 of the Man United fan base have voted that they want Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Who is 2/3 of the fan base? Because for me, most of the fan base is actually over the Middle East, Asia, etc., not over here, So, it's just xenophobia, isn't it? And it's been like this for years. It's nothing new. We all know it. You just choose to ignore it.
No. For me, I just feel like, look, everybody has skeletons in their closet, and I think that's this whole finger pointing of like, blah blah. If we really want to open the books upon everyone has skeletons in their closet. So I hate this whole idea that these guys are much worse than us, but we're all good. Everybody has their bad records. So my thing is, I never had any issue with Man City spending all this money. Never had it. All I'll say is that, well, could you do it without more money being spent? This is where football is going. It is what it is. This is the ecosystem that has been created, and we were always going to get here. Like, it's going to come to a point where if you've got money, buy yourself a Premier League clubs. The Super League is the Premier League, so it is what it is. So now picking and choosing, saying that these guys are bad, these guys, no, it's the reality. So, because I was just looking at Michael Delaney's Twitter right now and just what he's been saying, and I'm like, okay, what is your point though? So your point is, because the Qatari will take over this institution known as Man United, therefore it means that everything United now do is now worthless because the Qataris have now been involved in human rights abuses and so forth. So are the Qataris...
That's dehumanizing in itself. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what I don't understand. When you use certain words like British bid, justified so and so for to say what you want to say, so it doesn't look like it's bad, bro. Like, what are you doing?
No,
Yeah.
but it's actually it's actually really interesting. Because look, see, let's be real. Man United does hold a very special place within English British society and so forth. And I do believe that there are a lot of certain people who would prefer that Ratcliffe was the person who took over, based on just what the Man United brand means, not only globally, but what it means for England. It is one of the biggest sporting brands in the world, and it's
Yeah.
English. So a lot of people say, I'd rather have a Jim Ratcliffe be the owner than it being the Qataris being the owner of this brand.
I want to interject for a minute here, because again, I also think, by the way, that Sir Jim has had a lot of bullshit written about or said about him by fans as well recently. The kind of debt that he wants to buy the club with. And I know I don't want any debt, but if you actually read into it, the debt isn't going to be against the club. There'll be no liability. The debt will be against his business. No money will be taken. His beard has been very assured that no money will be taken from the club to pay this debt, and people are ignoring it. There was in his statement, he mentioned that he would be buying a majority share straight away. No, can't have a majority share. It needs to be complete 100% ownership. Even the Qataris will be a majority share only in the beginning, because there's over 40 million Class A non-voting right shares that are out there on the public stock market, which no owner is going to buy back straight away. It's going to take time to do that. And the new owners may decide to keep the club on the stock market. We don't know yet, as an example. So there's some things that he's been, and some Man United fans are kind of doing this thing now where they're attacking Sir Jim Ratcliffe because the media are attacking the Qataris. I don't like that either, because he may end up being our owner. I'm just stating, like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So I understand, like, there's some climate change issues with Sir Jim's business that's not being called out by, say, Miguel Delaney. I would be attacking Miguel Delaney, not Sir Jim Ratcliffe, for that, because he hasn't done anything wrong. Equally, I'm not going to attack Sir Jim Ratcliffe for his Brexit views, because the political views of some of the other bidders are equally, to me, not my cup of tea either. I think Man United fans have got to be mindful here that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not the enemy. The hypocritical media is. And that's where I draw the line, because the irony is going to be this guy might end up being our owner, and he isn't. As a lot of people would point out, you can find dirt on any billionaire. You can find dirt on any billionaire. You know, a lot of people say, I'd like Apple to own us. Yeah, they have sweatshops all over the world that employ children, you know, which is illegal in Europe, as an example. You know, there's always something you can find against somebody. It's the hypocrisy of it that stands out more than anything to me, which I just can't personally fathom. This year says, I'm saddened to see the Premier League becoming an oil league, but it was inevitable. I prefer the Bundesliga setup where fans are in charge. Feck modern football. And look, again, I don't think, again, if that's your stance, then your stance isn't against oil money as in the people. It's you want fans to own the clubs. That's fair enough. But the problem you've got is you can't. It's trying to stop. It's like shutting the barn door after the horse has already bolted. Like, it's done now. You're not going to change it. It would take years to. And I understand where you're coming from. And if you don't move with the times, you're just going to get left behind in the modern day era.
But quickly, sorry, because I know let's move on. But on that point, though, so you're all for the whole 50+1 thing in Bundesliga. What has the result of that been? Bayern Munich have won the league 10 years in a row. So it may be all good with fans have ownership and everything, but it resulted in Bayern Munich pretty much cannibalizing the whole league, literally taking and leeching off star players from the opposition. This whole model is, hey, at least we can protect our own players because we can offer them the money and the wages associated with the club. In the Bundesliga, that ain't the same. So it is what it is.
I don't get it.
Terry, they don't give a shit about other people that come from certain countries, but when it comes to the Middle East, they want to target them. I get it. I get why people have their weird ways, but as long as the owners have the money, they pay for the club, and they're ambitious, who the hell are you to tell them how to
exactly? And this whole but he's Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a Man United. No, he's not, bruv. He used to be. He's a Chelsea season ticket holder, right? He owns niece who used to go watch Man United because it was far away, and there's other stuff. And I think he's got shares in Tottenham. So in all of this stuff, what? I'm just saying, but there's we actually got, but you say that, but you miss out the part where this guy from Qatar, right? I don't know his name off by heart. He actually goes to games.
Al-Thani.
He actually watches. Al-Thani family, but I don't actually know his actual name. He actually goes to games. He actually watches Man United like regularly, but they want to miss out that part. So this whole stuff, squash it then. because there's no point in using that anymore. Or like for people, you know what? Anybody that actually supports Manchester United, or actually no, don't go watch the go read the statements put out by the Qatars, Al-Thani's, and then go by Ineos or Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Take away the names and actually read it and tell me which one sounds better to you. Like, forget who's buying it, just read them left to right.
The thing is, though, guys, what I stand in, because I do believe in freedom of speech. So if you're an individual that everyone has a different fight, everyone views the world differently. And some people may say, some people might look at it and go, listen, Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they might be doing some bad things to the environment. There are some people that don't believe climate change is real, as an example. I'm not saying I think that, but they might be like, that's not an issue for me. That isn't something that's on my radar. They may look at the way laws and rules are in the Middle East. That may be a big thing for them, and they are entitled to that. I don't think that is the issue per se. The issue is condemning it, but then using businesses or working for people or taking money from or holidaying in those areas. One of the things that I remember laughing my head off about when it comes to Tommy Robertson was he'd moan about Islam, but then the guy used to go on holidays every year to Dubai. It never made sense to me. It's kind of crazy, right? One of the funniest things I ever read was there was a BMP or an EDL annual meeting where they used to have like a party and they used to host it in a curry house. It used to make me laugh. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, some of it's comical because it's so embarrassing. But for me, the issue is if you're going to condemn it, but you have to live by what you speak about. Does that make sense? You can't then go and work for a newspaper that is owned by people from countries that you condemn. I worked in banking. I'm not embarrassed by it. If someone goes, oh, you think capitalism is good? I'm like, listen, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I won't condemn it and then work in it. I used to literally work with a guy. We nearly came to blows on a night out once because he used to tell me how bad capitalism was. I'm like, bruv, you work for Barclays Bank and you're sitting there and you're saying capitalism is evil. I can't fathom that kind of behavior. It rubs me up the wrong way. This here from Annie says, if you're against Qatar, don't shop at Sainsbury's, forget flights from Heathrow, and you're buying presents from Harrods, and don't do dinner at the Shard. Absolutely right. Gerard here says, spirit of Shankly got fooled by United fans.
That statement, man, I can't be bothered. Sat there and said, oh, Liverpool and United are together on this. We will not have these people coming in to own the football club. And then it hasn't.
They go there. This says a fair point, HH. I just don't like clubs being toys for billionaires, oil money, or Elon Musk. I don't care. This is what I would say, though, about Man City. Now, listen, how all their money's come in is up for question. But look what they've done for Manchester as a city. That, for me, isn't a billionaire's toy. A billionaire's toy, research what happened to Leyton Orient. By the way, that owner, the guy that bought Leyton Orient off the Earn family, was worth £5-6 billion. Promised one day will be a Premier League team. He was signing championship players and paying them 20 grand a week in League One. 9 to 10 months in, said, I'm not doing this anymore. Sold all those players or loaned them all out. So he didn't have to pay the wage bill. And then just made them play their youth players. And they ended up falling from League One to League Two and then out the Football League. That's a billionaire's toy and they get bored. What Roman Abramovich did, what Sheikh Mansour has done, that isn't a billionaire's toy. That is someone that has improved the football club, improved the local community, invested in the areas. And I think there's a fundamental difference between those two things personally. But there is a lot of outrage around it. And I think, as Kaz has said, it's massive hypocrisy. And I don't know Miguel Delaney, and he may not like the tweet I've put out about him. But, you know, if he wants to challenge me, if he wants to come on the football terrace and have a conversation, we can certainly do it. Staying on, man,
he's getting cooked though online.
Of course, he's going to get cooked, because when you're a hypocrite, you always get cooked. You know,
when you try to play for clicks, when you try to play. Sorry, go on, Terry.
No, I was going to say, when the Saudi takeover happened, everyone's going, aren't you going to condemn it? And I said, no, because I said, forget my own personal feelings for a moment, which don't even matter. I said, would I stop being a Man United fan if Man United got bought by Saudis? The answer is no. So I'm not going to go on record and condemn it. You know, True Geordie is a legend of the YouTube game. There's no doubt. Love him or loathe him, he's a GOAT in the YouTube game. But I wouldn't want to do what he did, which was slag off oil money for years and then celebrate when they buy your football club. Me as a person, I just don't even want to have a clip of me going out like that, let alone be that kind of hypocrite. I just don't want to be that guy. Moving on from this, but staying on Man United, Kaz, Man United in the title race?
Yes.
One game at a time.
Hold on a minute, have hope. Your name ain't Kaz. Kaz, are Man United in the title race?
Have Cass. But basically, it's just for me. It's just I'm just enjoying my time in the Premier League at the moment, and I'm taking it one game at a time. We got a cup final to focus on this Sunday, and we'll move on from there.
You're
What's with
welcome
the
for
Kaz,
that, by
give
the
me a
way.
break.
You're-
Give me a
you're- you're
break.
wel- you're welcome
Give me
for
a
that cup
break.
final.
Kaz, give me a break. No,
Um,
no. I
Oh,
don't
by the
accept
way,
that.
by the
I don't
way,
accept.
by the way, Tom, thank you. Your club literally probably won us the Carabao Cup.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're-
Unless Norris Karius decides to have the greatest remontada.
Oh no,
the
no,
world
no!
has
Oh,
ever
sorry,
seen.
you don't. Oh, I forgot about that. 2 times now. Now you gave them Lord Carrius, and then you got Nick Nope sent off for 3 games. Thank you
you're
very
welcome.
much.
No. Okay. Let's be real right now. Kaz is obviously lying and so forth. I don't know whether you're
Huh?
lying as well.
How
Terry.
dare you call me a liar, Hope? Are you calling me a
No,
pussy?
I'll tell you why you're a liar. Tell you you're a liar. Man United are 1,000% in a title race. 100%. United fans think they're not in a title race. They're trying to use a reverse jinx because they now believe that if we now say we're in a title race, maybe it will mess us up. 100% they are playing very well. Rashford is one of the most informed players in the world right now. The team is functioning well. Now, Ten Hag isn't really playing his possession football he wanted to play, but what does every good manager do? What are the players I have now? What is the best tactic to be effective? And they're playing very effective football. That isn't really what Ten Hag wants to do, but it is effective for the players that they have. So everything is working very well. If City continue to drop points, if Arsenal continue to drop points and so forth, and United just keep on picking up points here, who knows? 5 points behind Man City. Obviously, Arsenal still need to still have their game in hand. United are in touching distance.
We're 3 behind Man City.
Yes.
3 points behind City, 5 points
yeah,
behind
yes,
Arsenal,
you-
game in hand.
Are you a pussy, bro? Why are you not?
Um,
Why are you not saying this with your chest? That you're in the title race. You're 5 points off.
Look, you know
No,
what?
you're 5 points off top place. I remember just 2 months ago, before the Arsenal game, you were saying when we win these games, we're gonna beat Arsenal, and then we're gonna be going for the title. We get the title.
I never said that actually.
Yes, you.
I
did.
said
When you
Arsenal
when you
were
beat the
next.
3 games,
No.
you beat City,
I said
when you beat
Arsenal were
Arsenal.
I said Arsenal were next, and we lost. And
You said you were going to beat them and you were
going
going to be going into the title race, and now you've been.
I never said no title race.
You're
I said
back
we're gonna
now.
beat
All
Arsenal.
of that talking.
the thing-
You
the
don't
thing
wanna
is,
put
Kaz-
yourself in-
The clip is on my Instagram too, so you can take it if you want.
you don't want to put yourself in the
The thing is,
conversation.
Kaz, let's just take your nice out of it for a second and then put in any other random team. And let's say they were in the exact position you lot are in. Would you be telling their fans they're in a title race?
No comment.
No, Tom, translation, yes. 100%
No,
yes.
no.
Yes.
Why are you attacking me?
Like, I don't get why you
because he doesn't
I'm
want to
just
come
like-
back.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. They were welcome to the 1 second, George. They were welcome to the title race the moment they beat Manchester City. Let's be honest.
No. This is
Mathematically,
no. You know what the best thing is, though, Gal. Yeah.
1 second. Let me finish, George.
Yeah. Cheers. You have
mathematically,
Cass and I'm George.
At this moment in time, you guys are only 5 points away, if I'm not mistaken, from Arsenal, and you guys are on great form. To say you guys are in a title race, you could say that, but doesn't mean you're going to win it. What's wrong with saying you're in a title race?
What's
Yeah,
it called?
no,
Gal,
no.
if you pay me, I will say it, but I'm not doing it because you're not.
No.
Anyway,
Can I ask a question?
Basically, Igal is 100% right.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Title race means there's a genuine chance of Man United winning the title, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh,
Igal, are Man United in and around the same level as Arsenal? Are we about as good as you?
This season, you have been.
So Man United,
we had a better start to the season. than you.
Erik Ten Hag has got Arsenal. Sorry, Erik Ten Hag has got Man United to Mikel Arteta's Arsenal's level already. Like, is that what you're saying?
in 7 months.
After the poor hiccup you had at the beginning of the season, the rest of the season you guys have been spotless. I can't make fun of it.
I'm not asking that. So I'm asking you a specific question. Are Man United under Ten Hag as good as Arsenal are right now?
Post the hiccup at the beginning of the season, you have been.
So is that a yes or a no?
Since the hiccup at the beginning of the season, you guys have been spotless. That is what I'm saying, Terry. You can
Okay,
take it as a yes.
So what you're saying is Ten Hag is definitely levels
the
above
reason I'm
Arteta.
asking is this. I'm very happy to sit here on the terrace and say Man United are in a title race. But what I need from rivals first is I don't know the
Validation? Is that what you need?
No. I don't. I'll
You need
finish.
validation, Terry?
I don't need any validation from any man. What I need though is if
What do you need? What do you need?
I don't need. I would answer if you would stop interjecting, Igal, and give me 30 seconds to finish what I'm saying. You would hear it, my friend. But I don't need validation from any man, any other person for my own beliefs. I believe in them wholeheartedly. I'm very happy to be pushed into San Marino title race by rivals. If you all admit that you were wrong about Man United in your preseason predictions, and that if you sit there and state that we're a brilliant team, it was only 2 weeks ago on this show that the Spurs fans told me they still think they were going to finish in the top 4 ahead of us. Suddenly, they're trying to push Man United fans into saying that we're as good as Arsenal and City this year. I want to hear it from you, the rivals. I want you to talk about how good we've been this year, how brilliant the turnaround has been. I want you to say how much of a great team we are, and how I want to hear from you the chance you think we've got of winning the league. Because all I'm really hearing every week is United were lucky, they're not playing that well, they're relying on Rashford. The manager hasn't really improved them too much. But in the same breath, you're going, oh, but you guys are in a title race, you could win it this year. So which is it? Are we a really good team that are playing brilliantly? Or are we lucky and relying on one individual and we're hanging on by a coattail? What is it? What are we, people?
You're
Tell
afraid
me
of putting pressure on your
No.
players.
I've always been fair here.
No.
Okay.
That's a deflection. Forget what I think right now, because my personal opinion is I don't think we're as good as City or Arsenal because our performances haven't been as good or sustainable. I think we're in this middle road. We're not. We're in a title push. We're just behind the title race, in my opinion, but we're clear of everybody else fighting for top 4. We will finish comfortably in the top 4. We're in this kind of middle road. Arsenal, if they win their game in hand, are 8 points clear of us. I don't think being 8 points behind the leaders right now is a title race. I think we're just behind it slightly. However, in 2 or 3 games, if Arsenal lose 2 of their next 4 games and City draw another couple and we win, then my mind will change because we're not just seeing a wobble from Arsenal. We're seeing actually their form is changing and Man United has gone the other way. We're just behind it. I would call it a title push. We're just behind it right now. But I'm big enough and strong enough as a man to say I don't think my team right now is as good as Arsenal or City. I'm not going to be bullied or forced into bigging up my team when none of you believe Man United are in a title race. You just want United fans to change the narrative so you can say you failed if we came third, rather than you all admitting you were wrong about us and we're better than your teams. And I ain't falling for that trick. Do you know why? Because I'm one of the YouTube OGs. I started these motherfucking tricks online. You ain't fooling me with my own tricks. Ain't happening. You say my team's brilliant, and I'll change my mind. Until then,
so what we are going to say is, I think you're just afraid of putting the pressure on your team. You don't want to put the pressure on the boys to say go out there and do the job, because the last time you did it, the last time you did it pre-City game, you didn't want to go there and say we're going to go beat City, we're going to beat Palace, and we're going to beat Arsenal. No one was confident enough to say it casted, and then he was wrong.
Hang on a minute. I wasn't confident to say it because I didn't think we would do it, and we didn't. What I said when we beat City is that if we win our next 3 games, we're in a title race. And I said I want to put pressure on the team to win those 3 games to see if they're ready for that acid test, to see whether they've grown by that amount.
Right?
And they haven't, which is why I don't think we're good enough yet to win the league title.
I'm not calling you. I'm just saying.
And if you don't think you're good enough to win the league, you can't be in a title race.
You know what?
Terry, I'm not calling you out.
Let me be fair here. Terry. Let me be fair here, Terry. Like, okay, I'm going to be clean. We'll be fully 100% honest here. I have, and I think I've said this, but I'll say it again. I hated Man United before I even liked Chelsea. And this was just due to having a big... So basically, because my big brother was a United fan, his favorite player was Cantona. So the first thing I knew was hating Man United. So I've always hated United. And I'll be real with you. I am saying that the title race so that I want United to screw, because United winning this title in Ten Hag's first season with all of the issues would be a disaster. But I'm also big enough and objective enough to say we can't hate on what Ten Hag is doing, because the Cristiano Ronaldo issue, the Maguire issue, the first 2 games, and how he's been able to steady the ship dealing with all of the issues he's had. Because I was having an argument with someone on Twitter saying that Ten Hag has had less to deal with than Potter. And I was like, no. Ten Hag has had almost the same issues, probably even greater issues to deal with than Potter. So, because that's Cristiano thing, that was a powder keg. And he handled that extremely well, because that was a huge powder keg. So, Terry is right in the sense of, if we're being real, again, jokes aside and everything, and my hatred for United aside, I feel that after 38 games, I don't think United have enough to win the league after 38 games. But I believe that United's ceiling this season is second. I think they're sitting in second. I don't think they have enough to come top. I think this is now a discussion between Man City and Arsenal. But the thing though is football is a weird sport. If Arsenal don't win the game, and let's say they draw, that's now what, 6 points. If let's say they draw, that's 6 points. You're still 3 points behind Man City and so forth. If City and Arsenal keep on dilly-dallying and so forth and everything, and not just quietly, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, who knows? Who would have thought Leicester would have won in that season? Who knows?
Let me-
Have hope. I feel like you're right. Look, Man United could still get into this title race. I'm not saying it's impossible to happen. We've got 15 games left. That's a long way. I'm not saying we can't enter it. I'm just not confident that we can win the league right now. Therefore, that means I don't think we can sustain it with these two teams. That's not me being negative about my club. Equally, I've changed my own standards throughout the season. I would be happy with top 6 at the start, especially after the first 2 games. Now I'm demanding we at least get third and we win a trophy, because we've proven that we can do that. So my standards have risen throughout the course of the season. If we fast forward 5 games and we're 1 point off top, playing brilliantly, players coming back from injury, Sancho's cooking, Rashford still scoring, then you will see me sit here and change my mind again and move it further forward. I'm just not going to show my ass on camera and get ahead of myself, because right now I just think that the 2 teams ahead of us have slightly more than we do. I did want to ask a question. So go on, Agal. I want to ask you a question after this as well. Sorry, go on.
I agree with you there, but let's not take away any credit from Manchester United. What you guys have been doing from the beginning of the season, where your expectations were to not even finish anywhere near the top 4. People had you guys sometimes even 8th, to where you guys are now. Ten Hag's done well, and you got to give him credit. And some of your players are performing out of their skin. You're definitely going to at least get 1 trophy, the Carabao Cup. The question is, can you guys push on for more? Maybe get the Europa League, maybe get a FA Cup, and make it a fantastic season.
Yes.
That is it. It's not only about the Premier League, because I'm here. Obviously, people are going to joke around and say, can you win the Premier League? It's very far-fetched, but it is a possibility. But could you get more than 1 domestic trophy? Could you get a European trophy this season? Now that's where we're talking about a great season, a good season turning into a great season.
Agreed.
Yes, you're right. I think we can win Europa League, especially if we get through Barcelona, because that's the toughest opponent in the Europa League, bar Arsenal. And I think that'll just push on absolute immense momentum. And then, but like, if we don't, then it is what it is. Like, I don't expect to win no league. We're just collecting 3 points silently, innit? But I think we're better than City. I'll be honest. I actually think we're a better team than Manchester City. They haven't even put 3 runs together, like 3 games where they can win, like what, since October. You know, they didn't even beat Nottingham Forest. They got lost. Like Robin Hood said, I'll take those 2 points extra. It's you, man, to lose, Agal. Remember, this is your title. You said if Arsenal are top by January, you're going to win. So that's the narrative right now. You're winning. We're just having a joy in the ride, and we're fighting on 4 fronts. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else more to it.
Listen, I agree. And you will see Man United fans change in mass if in 5 games, let's see what the table looks like in 5 games, and you will see Man United's opinions change. It's the same as 10 games ago. You said, would United get top 4? United fans were saying maybe. Now they're saying we should. So I think that the narrative will change from our standpoint. There's a few super chats I want to go to here. It says, you should be able to tell the truth to power. You should be able to tell the truth to power. Terry, I speak on working rights issues and still work for a big company that wants to suppress them. I guess I should leave my job because I'm a hypocrite. Depends on what you do. And it depends on your scenario. You know, someone like Miguel Delaney is powerful enough in the industry to walk into a very similar and well-paid job in other companies. You know, if you're lower down the pecking order, it isn't as simple as that, and I understand it completely. And again, speaking out about workers' rights in the UK, I was part of the union when I worked at Barclays, and there was things that they would do internally which weren't great, but I had the power as part of the union to help change it. So I was able to force change through my position. But if I'm against, and I'm talking about being against a complete institution or a complete way of life, not elements of the company which you have an ability to change. There's a fundamental difference there, Andrew. So if you're anti-capitalistic and in its entirety and you work for a bank, you're a hypocrite. If you work for a bank but you don't like the fact that you only get a 45-minute lunch break and you want an hour and you're fighting to change it, you're not a hypocrite, because that's a small change within an organization, not trying to rechange the structure of an entire country. And that's the fundamental difference there, Andrew, in my opinion, if we want to get into the kind of the details of it. This here from Deborah, thank you for the big super chat, says, my heart is with magnificent Messi, but Liverpool FC is my club. Confusing. Not really. They ain't playing each other.
Go back, Messi. Just go back, Messi.
Not that they're
Go
not
enjoy
planning to
Messi.
anytime soon. So we will see. But thank you so much for that beautiful donation. I really do appreciate it. Terry is saying he doesn't want to do an egal. No, I'm not saying I want to do an egal. I will back my club when I think we're about to do things. Like I'm going to back my club this week to win the Carabao Cup. I think we will win it. I can say that because I think we're better than Newcastle. We've got better players. We've got a better manager. We're playing better. We're scoring more. I think we'll beat Newcastle. I can put my. I'll put my left on the line. I believe it.
You also think Arsenal's going to win the Premier League, so it's not doing it egal. It's doing it Terry.
Yeah, I just don't say things I don't believe. That's just the fundamental truth of me as a person. And what did you say? A gal, you good. Graham had you do the digital dash.
What?
Right.
Who's? He means Brandon, I think. I think
maybe
I think he's
Brandon.
talking about Lee. Because
Oh.
Graham looks like Lee Gunner.
Oh, Graham Potter. Maybe that'll happen in the future. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I did want to ask you a question, though, Gal.
Yeah.
Why are Arsenal fans so triggered by Rashford at the moment?
No, they're not triggered by Rashford.
Why, when I tweeted out Rashford's stats yesterday, do I get hundreds of replies from some gooners saying, why are you adding goals from all comps? Why? Like, I'm not slagging Rashford off, slagging Saka off in any way. But every time I mention how good Rashford is, 90% of my replies are about, yeah, but Saka's better. Like, why are you guys so triggered by Man United and Rashford right now?
Terry, it's tribalism. The honest answer is it's tribalism, and they're not triggered by Rashford. It's Manchester United are also triggered by Bukayo Saka. We put out a stat that Bukayo Saka has more GA in the Premier League than Rashford, and next thing you know, you got Man United fans all in your mentions. It's just how it is. It's tribalism, football tribalism. People are going to back their player. I genuinely believe Bukayo Saka is a better player than Rashford. Rashford's on hot form. Doesn't take it away from him.
Do you know what, though, Gal? I just want to speak on this because the same thing happened today, but with us. Salah got that tackle by Dan Burn on Sasti, and then today an Arsenal fan said, "Oh, the referee must have imagined it was Saka on his back." My club were the worst at doing this, putting their heads into places that it shouldn't be. Why are you, man, starting to do the exact same thing when two people are having a football discussion and it's all about Arsenal? It's got to be about Arsenal. Sometimes, guess what? Your club just isn't involved. It doesn't matter.
You know what?
I feel like people should just be happy that England's got two wingers flourishing right now.
And this is the crazy. And this is the crazy. Nick says here, but you're directly mentioning him, Rashford, in that tweet, and that's the difference. I am just putting out a tweet that is bigging up Rashford. What you never see me do is to make Rashford look better. I don't slag off Saka ever. And a lot of people have said you shouldn't include, like when you say best winger in the league, you shouldn't include their goals from outside the direct Premier League. And I always think that's a nonsense. And the reason that I think that's a nonsense is because Rashford's playing 2 games a week and he's delivering in all competitions at all times.
Saka's not?
Well, he's not playing 2 games a week right now, is he?
No, but if he was majority of the season.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't scoring. But you're missing my point. You're missing my point. It's not a dig at again. I didn't say it was a dig at Saka. I didn't mention Saka. The reason why I don't think you exclude when I'm talking about the brilliance of a player, and I'm talking every player I mention, I'm talking about the complete GA in all competitions. Because when I judge a player who's been the best this season, I don't narrow it down to one competition. I look at how they've performed across the board. You know, people do that with Antonio Conte. League-wise, one of the best managers in the world. If you look at his league and his European pedigree, he drops down the pecking order, right? So when I look at Rashford, I just think this year he has delivered in every single competition that he's played for Man United, which is why I would say, as a Premier League player, and from an attacking point of view, he's been the best winger. And by the way, he's only now 4 GA away from matching Haaland's season that everybody was saying was on Ballon d'Or level form. And for me, I'm just trying to congratulate my own player, but I do it. And the anger in the replies is crazy to me. It's crazy to me because I'm not slagging anybody off. And then you have people like Babs going on True Geordie show saying that Rashford's just having a Jard Bowen season. Like, that's a madness to me.
No, but you heard his take. His take was, he was saying he's outperforming his XG.
What does that mean?
He's outperforming what the goals that he should be producing. So he's being extremely clinical, and maybe it's not sustainable.
No, but I can't lie. I would have to disagree with that, Gal, because I feel like if you said that 2 or 3 months ago, maybe he's outperforming his GA. He's scoring a few goals more than he should, but he's been doing this for about 3-4 months. Ever since they've come back from the World Cup, he's been on fire, unstoppable, and he's been doing it. It's not just the amount of goals he's scoring; it's the type of goals he's scoring. Gal, let's be honest, he's scoring a variety of goals, taking players on man. The one against and the one in the cup as well. Like, the guy has shown that he's developed his game a lot. And this is the player that, let's be honest, we expected to see Rashford become a few years ago. It's just been a bit delayed. And I can't lie. No one can deny that he's playing like the best winger in the league. He's the most informed player in the world right now. And you just have to respect the player. And that's why this is why I think the pressure needs to be on Man United to go for that title, because you've got
you just want to try and get third
football in the world right now. And you can't deny that. He's playing so good. He's carrying you guys to that into your potential title push. Let's see how he does in this.
No, just hold up. No, we can't say Rashford is the most informed attack in the world, because there's a guy called Osimhen for Napoli who is the best striker in the world right now. So let's be real. But he's definitely he's one up. You can say he's one up.
1 second, Terry. Did you hear that? He mentioned Osimhen again.
Yeah, but what way do you want to look at Osimhen? Because I mentioned
Osimhen last week, and they all these stats.
I was doing this today because I don't buy it.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. Yeah, because Rashford's got how much GA this season right now, and Osimhen's got 18 goals, and Rashford by the way, yeah, Osimhen's got 18 goals in the league. Rashford, as a left winger / sometimes striker, has got 14 Premier League goals. Technically, he's only 4 away. And he's got a bunch of assists behind him.
But also, it's the type of goals this guy is scoring. Osimhen's scoring all types of goals.
Yeah, my God. The goal Osimhen scored is practically the same he scored against Ter Stegen in the Europa League.
So, yeah, I mean, but Rashford scored everything. He scored tap-ins, headers. He scored 3 goals in 2 months, where he's dribbled past a whole flank of a team and wellied it in. He scored screamers. He's done. By the way, I think Victor Osimhen is great. But Rashford, I think, has 6 more goals since the return of the World Cup than any other striker in Europe. And I get some people, I saw a lot of replies saying, yeah, but some of them were against lower level teams in the League Cups and whatever else. But so are we now discounting goals from? So do we now go back through the record books, and any goal that Messi or Ronaldo or Henry or Shearer scored against teams that drop below a certain level, are we going to scrap them from records? It's crazy.
Imagine comparing the Serie A to Premier League.
This was happening to Bruno when Bruno was scoring penalties. Suddenly, for the first time in the history of football, penalty goals didn't count as real goals. It's mental health issues. It's mental health issues.
Do you know what's with Rashford? No, because I've always bro, Terry, from way back when, years ago, I saw that Rashford, the guy is brainless, he's headless, and the guy's useless. And I almost tried to fight you when you compared him to Mbappe. But this season, maybe it's Ten Hag and so forth, he's been quality. But what's got me Rashford's respect was that when he became the forward, was what he did at Camp Nou. It was not only the first goal, it was that second goal. What he did to Rafinha to create that space that led to the own goal. I was like, no, I'm looking at a different place. The player before was a guy who was brainless, had 0 football IQ, didn't know what he was doing. This guy's garbage. I don't know what Ten Hag has done this season, but he's been quality. But it was specifically those 2 goals he scored at Camp Nou that I said, I'm looking at something different here from him.
Yeah, I do get that. And listen, I think the amount of goals he's scoring game in, game out, do I think he'll keep scoring in almost every game he plays? No. I don't think he will, because there've been a handful, especially in the Premier League, there's been a handful of, no one ever in English football has scored in nearly every single game they've played, season in, season out, year after year after year after year after year. There's been a handful that have done it, as in out and out number 9s. But even people like Michael Owen, people look at him as, Harry Kane has scored, 25 to 35 plus goals every year for a decade. Henry was sensational. Aguero is very good. There's only been if you actually go through the last 30 years of football and look at how many have done it, I don't expect Rashford to keep scoring at this rate. But this is a guy that will consistently get, in a good system with a good manager, between 35 and 45 GA every year, which for me is world-class levels. And I just think that he's back to what he was doing 2 years ago. And people they're looking at the blip year and they're using that as this. That's what Rashford is. And they're ignoring the body of work that came before it and the progression that he was making every single year. And I just think it's crazy, whether it's his celebration, whether it's who he scores against, there's always anger and detractors and frustration. And personally, I'm loving it. I just wanted to ask what people thought the reason was, because for me, it's great to see one of my players hated so much for being brilliant.
He's like 5 or 6 EA away
why is
from...
Saka copying why is Saka copying Rashford's celebration?
Mbappe did it yesterday as
He
well.
looks up to him.
He's
So
just a
is everyone
trendsetter,
copying
man.
Rashford's celebration now?
Apparently, everyone's paying homage to Rashford. Let them run with that.
You know, it's mad, Jay. He's only like, I think I read he's like 6 GA away from Haaland's total GA as well. Like,
Ooh.
Three.
Man,
Yeah,
man.
Haaland's on
3.
36 all comps. Rashford's on
Rashford
What-
needs to do it in a major final, then we can talk. That's what I'm missing. Let him
he might.
let him
I
ball and score in a major final.
Did he not score? Did he not score against in Europa League when
Yeah,
he was
he did.
young as well? Like,
I
no
think
major final.
I think he didn't score in the final.
You like that one, innit?
What I would
He
say
did,
though,
didn't
have hope. No, he didn't score in it. He didn't score in the final. No, in that final, Pogba scored and
Mkhitaryan, was it
Mkhitaryan
Mkhitaryan?
was it Mickey?
Mkhitaryan scored. But I think for me, with you're right in terms of legacy of the game. Sort of scoring in semi-finals and finals puts you another echelon. But again, he's still only 25. He's probably got 7-8 years left in his career to do that. We've got some super chats here I want to do. First one says, FSG made us healthy financially, but I want them gone because they don't invest something
How
how
they're
they are
supposed to do.
supposed to in the squad. FSG should have told Klopp, you're the manager, we will get you a midfielder. The team needs to show us they care. I don't feel like they do, is what honesty has got to say to us here. This here says, tell George to shut up with 2 games every week. He said that about United falling because but he keeps forgetting United have been playing 2 games a week since the World Cup, is what half and half
That's
amazing.
why they should be in the title race, man. They've proved me
most
wrong. That's why they're in the title race.
This question for Igal, I think, is Ten Hag a better manager than Arteta?
He has more experience. Let's see how he does.
Oh, you
this
can't stop
is-
with the politician answers. Yes or no? Do you
Yes or
back
no?
Arteta
Yes
do you
or no?
back Ten
Egal,
Hag?
yes or no?
I still think Arteta is a better manager than Ten Hag, but let's see how he does.
You're about to put him in a title race with your manager's first title
So,
ever.
because basically, you think
So-
Arteta is better. So the answer is no.
With less
Igal,
experience-
you've got a cup final coming up. One-off game. Who are you picking as your manager for that one-off game? Ten Hag or Arteta?
It doesn't
Who do you
work
back
like
to
that.
get the win?
Football doesn't work that way. My God.
Oh, but just
Yeah,
answer the
it-
question.
yeah.
No. He's
No, the
crazy. He's
rea-
giving
the
you a
reality
scenario.
is- The reality is, a manager doesn't come out for a one-off game. He needs time to implement. His
But it's a
style.
scenario. It's just a scenario. Just answer the question. It's
How
a
much time,
scenario.
Miguel? How much time,
Miguel,
Miguel?
no
'Cause
one's
time was only
gonna call
yesterday,
you
man.
out if you're wrong, bro.
You know what the
It's
madness
all
thing is,
good.
yeah?
I've
Ten
answered the
Hag hasn't
question.
even
I answered the
implemented his own
question.
system, like his actual system. He's tweaked it for the likes of De Gea and the back four and the capable players.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And he's tweaked it many times, by the way, this season. But we don't want to have that conversation to how adaptive he is. So when he likes to get all his players, just like your team, I wonder how we'll
You know what?
play.
I think
Different
that's-
goalkeeper,
I think
different
that's a
centre mid.
beautiful
I wonder how
question.
Rashford will play when we actually get further up the pitch. You know, with Man United, start the deepest out of any team in the Premier League, by the way.
And you guys have the funniest goalkeeper on the planet. De Gea is hilarious. The guy,
What?
unwarranted punches. He could catch the ball so
Unwarranted punches. I mean, he's better than your goalkeeper, though, so that's what I know.
Just because I know everyone's got interest of time, I'm going to stop this conversation. We've got loads of super chats and 2 more subjects to do. Sorry, boys. Question, we'll get a quick answer on this. If Ten Hag, and I'll go to have hope to answer this question. If Ten Hag took the job at City or Arsenal in the summer, where would they be in the table?
Close, yeah. Tom is right. Close to. I'd say arguably say first.
First, fair enough.
Yeah.
Honest truth, we aren't used to our players being at such a level and having the limelight, not to be on them. A bit of jealousy, but Rashford is better right now, is what Akil says, who's an Arsenal fan. Thank you, Akil. Xavi rotated our defense. That's why Rashford scored. I love it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Big game logic against Rashford. You don't know ball. Yeah, Rashford's big game goal scoring record is pretty damn good, to be fair. And this here says, lol, Erik Ten Hag carried Ajax kids to a Champions League semi. Arteta is a clown, is what KC has got to
They
say.
also bottled that
Yeah.
semi, by the way.
Yeah. I wouldn't have brought that one up. Personally, I'd leave that one out if I'm having a debate. Next talking point. We've got Arsenal coming up soon and the title race, but first one that we're going to spend about 10 minutes on. Should Potter be sacked?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Hey, Gal, I want to go to you first. Could you say no?
because I told you guys from the beginning nothing was going to change. I told you guys that it was going to take time.
2 wins in 15.
I told you guys when you have all these players that you're signing, they don't even know each other. Half of these guys just met like last week, and you expect them to be gelled.
So you can't beat Southampton?
Bro, let me finish, and then you'll speak, okay? Let me finish, and then you'll speak, because it will get cut in every 2 seconds, and no one will get their point across.
Don't get called a pussy
right?
now.
Number one, Graham Potter has just gotten into the job this season a couple months ago, and people expect him to have instant success. You guys, Chelsea fans in general, you guys are impatient, and you've been spoiled brats this whole time, sacking managers every single couple months after a couple poor results. Also, you expect him with a new back room, a new owner, new players, absolute new defense, midfield, and strikers to change everything. You have no informed player from the beginning when he was already coming in. You have no players who are actually performing well before he was coming in, and you expect him to come in and just change everything. Honestly, your club, it's going to take some level of patience. Your players don't know each other. Your manager is just getting used to figuring out who's good and who's not good. And if you guys sack him, you're just going to be in the same situation. You're going to have another person coming in trying to figure out how to make a group of individuals a team.
Oh, can I?
No. I've got to respond. No, I've got to respond. No, Egal. This is why what you're saying, with all due disrespect, is complete and utter nonsense. So you're telling me that all because he's got all these players, new defense, new midfield, new attack, you can't beat Southampton, the worst team in the league, who just sacked their manager in their previous game. You lose to them at home, arguably having the worst performance ever. Wait, no, Egal, I let you talk. Let me talk.
No manager bounce.
So 2 wins in 15. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. I remember that first season when Abramovich brought in all those new players with Ranieri, Damien Duff, Mutsu, Crespo, and so forth. It was hard. They weren't playing well. It wasn't 2 wins in 15. This excuse that because you have all these new players coming in and you have a new defense and so forth and a new backroom stuff that you have, it's only 2 wins in 15, that's unacceptable. At the end of the day, you're a manager, you still have good ingredients, you still have good quality, and you should have won a lot more games than this. Now, here is the massive underlying issue. Tuchel should have been sacked. Shout out to Zagreb. They lost to Zagreb, should have been sacked. No one signed off on Potter taking over. We now know that Todd B, he's a guy who is in Twitter spaces. Potter was a sexy, trendy name on Twitter, and he went for him. So he's trying to turn Chelsea into freaking Brighton 2.0. He's trying to turn one of the biggest clubs in the world, a team that speaks fluent UCL, into Brighton 2.0. Potter should have never, ever stepped foot in through the halls of Stamford Bridge. He was the wrong guy. And let's be real. Shout out to Nix, because I wanna give credit to Nix. Nix said, "Hey, Gal, please let me finish at least, please." Shout out to Nix, and he was right. Potter's ceiling is Jordan. Potter is your manager. That's his ceiling. His ceiling is Jordan's team. Yes, you. Yes. Tottenham is his ceiling. Tottenham is his ceiling. Jordan, mute your mic. Jordan, mute your mic. Let me talk. Let me cook. Jordan, let me cook. His ceiling is Tottenham, not Chelsea. He should be at Tottenham. That is where he's saying. The issue with Potter is he's a kid in a candy store. Oh my gosh, it's Chelsea. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Let me even come to Kaz and Terry right now. Moyes.
I was about to say that, by the way, before you spoke.
You see, I was one of those guys who said that Moyes deserved the summer. Moyes deserved the summer. Now, in hindsight, and this is something that people don't understand, let me educate you guys in the series right now. All because you overachieve with a small club doesn't mean that you will achieve success at a big club. Coaching a small club is not the same as coaching a big club. I do believe that Moyes just was not the right man for United. That was just a Scottish thing between Fergie and Moyes. 100%, Potter doesn't have the character, the skill, the man-to-man motivation to coach the massive egos and personalities within a big club. The sooner Quidditch, and also his name is in part, I don't know who Potter is. The sooner Quidditch gets sacked, the better. I don't want to see Quidditch anywhere near that Dortmund game. I don't want to see Quidditch anywhere near Jordan's team on Sunday.
You're talking about 1 second. He's talking about feelings, though. He's talking about feelings. There's no time for feelings. Let's be real. Let's talk about the actual situation at hand. You have a bunch of players who came into the place. You have a new owner. You have a situation where he hasn't even been able to have enough time to instill a system.
2 wins in 15?
He got brought in mid-season. Your team was already a mess. This season, I told you guys from the jump, this season's a write-off. Forget about if you lose to Southampton.
Egal, is 2 wins in 15 acceptable? Yes or no? Egal, simple question. Is 2 wins in 15 with all those stuff? Is 2 wins in 15 acceptable with all those issues that you said?
Are we forgetting his injuries? Are we forgetting the fact that he literally?
This is what we're not gonna do now. Sorry, wait, Egal. I hear you just making excuses. Maybe
why are we treating Graham Potter like he's still at Brighton?
So this is what I don't get.
Tom, tell him.
He's got big money. They spent all this money. And let's be honest, at Brighton, all this talk about how amazing was, De Zerbi's doing better than him already. He's turned this Brighton team around and showed that they can be even better. Like they was cooking before, but he had problems at Brighton. His attack and a problem that he had at Brighton, quite frankly, was he couldn't finish games. They used to draw 15 games. They wasn't a team that always got the job done. And Chelsea, yet again, haven't been good all season, haven't played consistent football. And unlike you see Ten Hag come in, and although that his way of playing hasn't worked, he's got them to play a brand of football that works for that team and those players. He doesn't even know what players to put out every weekend. He's just guessing. It looks like he's doing the lottery because let's be honest, no Chelsea fans going into the game knowing what players are going to start, how they're going to play, and what to expect because it's just chop and change too often. And Potter's got to go, man. You can't keep getting mad.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. Bless you, Jordan. Bless you.
You guys don't have no patience. Entitled brats that just want to sack managers every year because they think Roman's still here. Daddy Roman's gone.
Egal, you just say this because you're happy where Chelsea are. Egal, I don't trust you. You're just saying this because you're happy that Chelsea are 10.
The reality is, keep crying that you're spoiled brats. Even if you sack him and you bring in a new manager, your underlying problems are still there, and the next manager is going to have to deal with the same.
Egal, I'm telling you right now, Egal, if Luis Enrique isn't announced before that Dortmund game, Egal, we're going to have issues. We're going to have a war.
Luis Enrique comes in. It doesn't change the fact that the players don't know each other's names. It doesn't change the fact that they've just gone to each other. And then
Egal, what if Potter just isn't right for this job?
It doesn't change the fact that Todd Bowley and the whole backroom staff from Brighton came to your club to instill this system and start this whole thing. I genuinely believe you guys don't understand who Todd Bowley is and what he's bringing to the table. He's coming here and he's going to lay down the law. He's going to bring in a manager. He's going to actually give him time and he's going to stick by him. Unlike some of you guys who just want to sack him out.
But
this whole get out by now, it's not happening.
That's the point. It's not a good thing if he sticks by him because what we have seen so far from this man, I'll give him one thing. He's been consistently bad, but he's been consistent because there is no excuse for this Chelsea squad, even with all their new signings. The squad that they put out. That is Brighton. That is Brighton. That's the team that were happy to get top half.
But at the beginning, they booed him. And guess what? He sat there and he said, you know what? Sometimes I have to take the criticism. He knows what he's doing wrong and he's trying to fix it. So guess what? At Brighton, first season, he got booed. Second season, what happened? He fired them up
Brighton. Why? This isn't Brighton.
Hold on. This is the thing. This is not Brighton. Chelsea are not Brighton. Chelsea should not be happy with what they're seeing at the minute. Chelsea Football Club are one of the most successful. Chelsea 2.0. But it can't be Chelsea 2.0 because they still act like Chelsea 1.0 in the market. If they had suddenly went, no, we're not going to spend 105 million, 88 million, 50 million, all this, that, and that, I'd agree. But they're still spending the money at a big club, so they should have big club expectations. And Graham Potter is not that man.
He's not
the manager of Chelsea Football Club are an arrogant They're an arrogant club. They believe they're the best, so their manager should also share that belief. I don't think Chelsea managers should sit there going into press conferences against Southampton and going, every team in this league's dangerous. Every team can.
No.
You know what's mad, yeah.
I would sack him on the spot. I would sack him on the spot for saying that.
You know what's mad though? Yeah, I can't lie. I think you hit the nail on the head. If it was Liverpool, even Tottenham, my club, and it's 2 wins in 15, you gotta go, man. I can't lie. Even me, I'd be impatient. I think you said it. He sounds like David Moyes in his first press conferences when he said he aspires to be like Man City. That instantly for me was like, I don't even like this guy no more. You know what I'm saying?
Are we going to ignore the injuries? Are we going to ignore the?
No. It's not the point. It's not the point. If Ten Hag can come in,
I'm sorry, but even you look at Ten Hag. Ten Hag got a win the other day, and he called out his team and said it wasn't good enough, and like he needs to see more.
There's the big
Potter is out here happy clapping players like he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Oh man, Jordan, please, man, Jordan, man, please. No, bro, he's a kid in the candy store.
I had an epiphany at the weekend, and my mind just changed. He looks to me listen, man looks like a cuck. He looks like he's stroking his wife's hair while some next ball is doing his thing, bruv. He just looks too happy. I've got some super chats here I want to do on this. This is a great point, though. Chelsea can't financially afford to sack him because it would cost 82 million plus all these staff deals. That's the issue with this. 12 million a year on a 5-year deal plus 22 million in compensation to Brighton. It would cost 82 million pounds to sack him.
Stupid, man.
That's my belief is that's why they're telling all the journalists that, again, this is where club journalist tier ones can be a problem, because they will just tell, and this isn't a dig at any of the tier one journalists, but what the tier one journalists will do is they will report the news exactly how the club says it. What they won't give you is nuance, which would be, this is what the club have said, but this is what I think should happen. They're just going to say they're backing him, and they're going to make it sound like that's the right thing to do. I believe that there, 82 million pound overall cost. Plus, you add his staff into that, you're probably looking at nearly 100 million pound cost to get rid of him. It's absolutely huge. This comment here from Dan T says, I've been asking Chelsea to be patient. However, I've had a lot of Chelsea friends that just aren't seeing enough. They need leaders and a manager who can get that out of them, is what Dan T says here. He says there's a termination clause in his contract, by the way. There is, but I wonder if it's interesting. Man United wanted to sack Moyes early, but there was always a termination clause where the managers got less money for being sacked if they failed to qualify for the Champions League. So maybe they have to mathematically wait for a particular point before they can get rid of him. Then you'd have to pay for another one of Zidane. Well, the manager's
He'd be worth it though.
Yeah, but, and if the manager's not employed, you don't pay compensation to another football club. So the Luis Enrique's of this world, the Zidanes, they don't have jobs. Potches, I'm just throwing that name out there. I like Kaz, but that Chelsea second prediction is bad.
There you remember that. You know what? I think he's gonna do business. I'm a big backer of Part. Hey, look, hope, yeah. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. You know, one of them ones. Them lies there. You're stuck with my man.
If you know, you know. Eduardo here says, as an Arsenal fan, I like Igal, but he is totally wrong here. Brighton mentality is different than Chelsea's mentality. I enjoy seeing them struggle. Can't have a small club mentality when it comes to managers. And Winter surfaces this camp counselor M3 has got to go. Potter out. As what's been said there. And just slightly off the subject, this is from Honesty that says it's neither Rashford or Saka's celebration. It's Lord Bentner's celebration. He even mentioned it online.
Yeah, but no one remembers though.
No one cares about Bentner, man.
He even scored a goal to celebrate.
No.
Yeah,
Rashford has made it popular. Let's believe whoever did it first. Rashford has made it. So basically, when you now do this, you now think of Rashford because he made it popular.
He did. He certainly did. Obviously, at the weekend, we saw City, in my opinion, bottle the opportunity to stay top, losing points to Forest when you're 1-0 up and Haaland skying chances from 6 yards out. Plus Arsenal with one of the most dramatic comebacks, dramatic wins of the season. How good does it feel to be back top of the league? And Igal, do you think this wobble is now past? Is it a past tense thing now for Arsenal?
Terry, that was crucial. And yes, I think that is a sign of things, better things to come. Because if we would have lost, it would have continued. We had to win that game. It didn't matter what the performance was. It didn't matter how the game ended up happening. We can all agree here. It didn't matter how the result took place. We just needed to get the result after the amount of games that we dropped points. So right now, I'm happy. Everyone in the Arsenal camp somewhat happy after an explosive Wednesday. And is
Partey back?
No, Partey's not back. Emil Smith-Rowe is back. Jesus is supposedly going to be back within a week, and Partey could be back within a week. So we could see after the next game against Leicester, when the Europa League's back around, we could potentially see both Partey and Jesus back and almost a fully fit squad. First time in the season since everybody except El Neni could be back in the squad come the next round of the Europa League.
Oh, because El Neni's so crucial, isn't he? What would you ever do without El Neni?
No. You're joking. You're joking. But at the end of the day, we know how crucial squad depth is, and he's literally before Lokonga got
But
injured.
you've signed this replacement. You've actually replaced El Neni with Jorginho anyway. So he's
No, I get that. You're laughing. But El Neni
Hey,
would've
you do
played.
not understand, yeah. El Neni during Ramadan, yeah, is different gravy. I'm telling you that now. That guy turns into Makaleli and Perlo all in one.
No, but
Yeah,
guys,
no.
let's be honest. That comeback was crucial for this team. We needed to win that game.
Yeah.
This was a massive game. And that right there just shows that we still have the belief, the mentality, the character. And shout out to Jorginho and what do you call it, Zinchenko, because they're two people who carried us mentality-wise in this game. I heard Jorginho even gave a pep talk halftime. I didn't even know about that until recently. But yeah.
No. Look, that was. Look, it's going to be. I really believed that when City beats Arsenal, okay, here we go. City will go on a winning run. And let's see what they do against Villa. Because remember, we had that whole prediction on the terrace, and I said that it's going to be very crucial how Arsenal reacts. Because yes, they say City loss is bad, but what is even much more important is how they react against Villa. And the fact that not only it's the way they won. See, if they won 2-0, cool. But the fact that they were in a losing position twice and they came back and won, psychologically, it is a huge boost. So if Arsenal now win that game in hand, it's going to be interesting because I just thought that the story would be City going to winning run, Arsenal start losing points, and it is what it is. So now I'm like, oh, this could get really exciting. As in, is this going to be a 2-horse race or is this actually going to really now be a 3-horse race? And look, I'm not going to just change my view. My money is still on Man City. I still feel eventually they'll win it because I don't want a narrative where that Norwegian James Bond villain has like 60 goals and City comes second. That is going to be a wild narrative to have, you know? So, I don't know, man.
City better hope.
I just don't believe that Aston win the league, man. I can't see it. I can't see
No,
it.
you want that on feeling, innit? You're saying that based on your feelings.
No disrespect, have hope.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, the way that we've been performing this season, if we get back to our full strength team, and we're
when is Jesus back?
Well, Jesus should be back like next week, hopefully.
Next week, yeah.
Right? So if we're back fully fit in a week's time and we're still above City, honestly, from there we should be able to do it. No question about it. It's just the whole thing that has been is how are we going to weather the injuries? And every time we've had a little bit of a hiccup, it seems like we bounce back. And at this moment in time, I think it's just scripted for us to win it. I think at this point it's scripted for us to win it. It's written in the stars.
And for me, I look. It's exciting. It's actually exciting, but we have to just see what City can do.
I hear you. What are you saying, George? Like as a Spurs fan, obviously you would have been very joyous when they lost to City, but to see them bounce back like that, City to have another wobble, are you looking at this as a rival, thinking maybe this is just written in the stars for Arsenal this year?
Look, Arsenal, they got the win. So, like you said, it's going to be a confidence boost to their dressing room regardless, and no one can take that away from them. But you're still looking at them 1 win in 5 games. Like, it's not amazing form, and it's not Arsenal. I just had a wobble. They had a big wobble. They had a shake, and their team finally turned up, and it was just about. They saved it very little, very late, and it was a bit lucky. But again, you need luck on your side here and there. But I'm not worried about City. Like Have Hope said, I still see City going out there and doing the job and just getting over it. I mean, they have been inconsistent. They have shown that they are a lot weaker than they were last season. But as we've seen over the past couple of games, Arsenal have shown that their team just isn't as strong as they thought. Their defense is not as strong as they thought. Saliba's form at the start of the season was not sustainable, and he's starting to have a few blinkers here and there. And I expect the team to continue to do that. One thing that you mentioned, Gal, just there is like, again, when you have your full team back, you can't rely late on the season in having your full team. No one generally does. Injuries are going to come into play like they have already for you guys. And I think it will just continue to go on like that. You've got a few more easy runner games coming up. So you should be picking up points, but we'll see the mentality of the players really.
Are these? I think they've got Leicester away, which is, I know they've lost 3-0 yesterday, but they should have at least got one in that first half, but they can't finish. Then they've got Everton at home, Bournemouth at home, and then Fulham away. But Bournemouth at home should be an easy 3 points.
But we have to look at this. Look at this.
Everton and Fulham, I just think the way they play, the way they set up as a defensive unit, I think that's what causes Arsenal more problems. because of how rigid they are defensively and how much they fight for every chance. Plus, Willian, he's got a bone to pick with all his old clubs this season, apparently. So
Yeah, I don't think Arsenal are going to have any trouble with Everton at the Emirates. Personally, is it Fulham away?
They got
Fulham
Bournemouth
away,
in
yeah.
between now.
Fulham away, yeah.
Fulham away is a tough game, but equally though, TBG's right. City haven't. I think the City have done it once, to be fair, but City haven't put a run of games together all year. So
It's October.
This is the thing. Like, it's kind of like, I get the challenges that are labeled against Arsenal, but it's as if people are not watching City this season. And I keep saying it every week, and people go, "Why are you defending Arsenal?" I'm not. I'm just confused why we're ignoring the gaping holes in this City team at the moment, because most Man City fans, barring Nobbins, are all saying it, but the pundits and the media and rivals of Arsenal are ignoring it. So City fans are saying, we ain't that great this year, but everybody else is going, yeah, you are, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. And I just think that's praying that they are, so Arsenal don't win it. Ironically, I'm praying that they're not, because I don't want a free-peat to happen. As a Man United fan, if we can't win the damn thing, I'd rather Arsenal do it, because I don't want City, because it actually puts more pressure on Man United next year to win the league, because that means you've got to stop City from doing a 4 on the bounce, which no one's done, which is a record that, again, just gives them an area of superiority within the English game. And I care about those kind of records because we're a big club and it really, really matters. But I thought the most impressive thing for me about Arsenal was 2 things. One, the perseverance to win. Secondly, Jorginho. Still, his performance was brilliant. His leadership was brilliant. All I was seeing all game, and I was obviously watching the game in the house with Jess, and Jess reminded me like a lot of online Arsenal fans that were, Saka gets a lot of praise, and Gabby gets praise, and Zinny gets praise, Zinchenko gets praise. I keep saying how way she says names before you pick up language, don't you? How Zinchenko does things, and this guy and that guy. And I'm sitting there watching the game, and every 5 minutes, I'm like, you haven't even mentioned Jorginho's name once. And I'm like, this guy has been cutting open their lines regularly throughout the whole game. It was other people whose final ball or shots weren't good enough. Jorginho is out of this world. And I think what he demonstrated to Gooners is that he can debutize for Thomas Partey. This should make Arsenal fans feel far more relaxed now when Partey's out. Now, of course, they want him playing. Why would you not want one of the best DMs in the league fitting in your team? I think there's something to be said about Jorginho and Partey playing in games together.
Well, wait, Terry, wasn't you having the conversation saying otherwise just last week? Because I believe I was watching your show with Jess.
You're allowed to change your mind, George.
No, wait. I'm just talking about how, and you was condemning Arsenal fans about how a lot of them were talking about how good Jorginho was going to be.
No, I thought you misheard. I condemned them because when he was first signed, there was outrage. And then because of an article from Ornstein, they all went, oh, actually, I think it's a really good signing. And then when Partey got injured, oh, that's it. Season's over. Season's finished. And I said, how dare you just write off Jorginho like that? I said, this guy's a really good player. And then when he delivered like he did on Saturday, I sat there and was like, have more faith. Like, all I was calling out is that those particular Gooners showed their ass because they lied for likes online that they thought it was a good signing. They didn't speak their truth. That's all I was calling out. I didn't call out. I said from day one, and the Gower tell you I was live on the air when they signed him. I said, that's a brilliant signing for Arsenal. He'll deliver for them in a number of games this year because he's a class act. What he needs is legs around him. Michael Carrick needed legs around him. Players like that do because he isn't fast. But as long as there's energy around him, a player like him will rip teams open with his passing. He won't be the guy that gets the assists. He won't be the guy that scores screamers. He won't be the guy that tracks back and puts in an amazing last-ditch tackle. But he, for me, as I always describe players like him, he is the gravy on a roast dinner. He's almost the most important part. You can have the best meat, best veg, best potatoes. But if there's no gravy, that Sunday roast is shit. He is great. He is gravy on the Sunday dinner. Very much Michael Carrick-esque for Man United, who just one of the most underrated players in Premier League history. Jorginho is sensational. And Chelsea, in my opinion, he was going to leave for free in the summer, so they got a bit of money. I mean, they literally are going to help Arsenal win the league with that signing, 110%.
We'll see. After 38 games, we'll see what happens after 38 games.
I wanted to ask a Gal a question because I only saw this the other day, and it was a stat showing me all of Thomas Partey's missed games, and there seems to be a frequent trend amongst that he doesn't like to play big games, does he? All this talk about being the best midfielder in the league, and he's missed how many top 6 games in the past 2 years?
He decided he wanted to play against us because Casemiro was out.
Listen,
it's the first top 6 games he's played in a while.
Listen, I can't control when the guy gets injured. He just unconvincingly got injured at certain times. he still, whenever he plays, he looks like one of the best midfielders in the league.
But don't you have to prove that against the best players?
He has on numerous occasions.
Again, no,
Casemiro again.
availability is the best ability. So yes,
yeah.
it hasn't cost you this season yet. Like you're still fine this season, but let's see next season it's a lot tighter, and
You
then
know
he goes
what?
down again.
We're not going to have to worry about that next season, hopefully, because we already are trying to address that in the summer. We're already planning on getting a Declan Rice or somebody like that in the summer, and that's why we were looking at Casado in the first place this window, and that's why Terry, I agree with you. Some people, even myself, were worried when we were looking at getting Jorginho. But the moment that he signed and everything was done, I said to myself, you know what? I already thought this team was good enough. We've only gotten better without Lokonga. Hence why even when Thomas Partey got injured, I was still like, you know what, business as usual. Let's see a Jorginho masterclass versus Man City. I was a little concerned because, of course, you're always going to be concerned going into a big game, missing one of your key players. Everyone would be. But now there's been 2 games. He's shown in those 2 games that we got ourselves a leader, and that's what I'm proud of. We went out and we did something. We were proactive instead of not proactive. We reacted and we got something done.
Found a way to win. You found a way to win.
Yeah, rather than just.
And that's what I'm about. Like it's the same conversation when Casemiro's out. Man United's found a way to win. It's like against Leicester, 3-0. You know what I'm saying?
I think what I like most about that Jorginho sign though is as good as he's been. I think from a more basic point of view, it was a statement of intent because normally it proved that you're serious about winning this title because he's not a long-term signing. He's not a 3-4 year, 5 year signing. He's here to help you now and to help you get across the line now, which is what I want to see more clubs do when they're in this position.
And one more thing, Terry.
Absolutely right.
One more thing, Terry. On the match reaction, I felt like you were lumping me in with those people. The moment I left the stream, you said you're counting me out. Yes, rightfully so. You can call me out for being one of the people who are against the signing. But once he was signed, I was never worried about us faltering based on him. I was always more worried about if City, after they beat us, if we can't keep up with them. When it comes down to him,
I appreciate just going by the way your tweets read on the day that Partey got injured, it just read like shit. We're in trouble now. And for me, if Casemiro got injured or was suspended, but we had what I consider to be an adequate or very good replacement in a DM role, I wouldn't panic. Like Man United don't have another DM, so there is more reason to go crap. There's a problem there. That's all I was really referring to there. Blaze here says, I disagree, Terry. Remember when Arsenal fans thanked Chelsea for Willian because he gave them 3 assists against Fulham last year? Don't let J5 luck fool you again. I'm not being funny. I never feel fooled by Jorginho. I just feel that one of the reasons he wanted to leave Chelsea is because they weren't building a team around him to get the best out of him. And this is key. Like, players are not suited to every club, every manager, and every style. He was brought into Chelsea for a long-term plan under Sarri. And Sarri's been long gone. So it's about the right manager, the right system, and the right players around you. It's a team. Remember, this is the team. People always go players are system players. Players have always been, to a degree, system players. And because it's a team sport. So you can't, it's almost by definition of a team sport, you're part of a system, aren't you? This here says, does the Chelsea guy still want injury-prone Neymar? And can he sustain the Premier League physicality? We'll get through these.
Fucked up, man.
No, he
look,
can't.
I'll take the dip on Neymar, man. Nene
gone. Oh, had that chance. Oh,
this here from Dead says that Odegaard miss was huge, but the team kept pushing and got the result. A statement win, and I hope we go on a run before we play City again, is what Dan T says. Neto says Ramadan El Neni is a stuff of legends. By the way, I said Chelsea had no chance winning the Champions League. End of the day, it's going to go down to who is hungrier to win, as in the league title. Ever heard of Form George? Kulu definitely does, as in Kula Sevsky. Off topic, I know Ligue 1 is not the best league, but the best game this weekend was between Lille and PSG. It was an amazing game. I actually watched it. What was a shame about it? There was no limbs. Imagine being 3-2 down with like 6 minutes to go and you win it 4-2. And there was about 40 people in the crowd going, yay. The rest of them were just stand. It was kind of like some high fives. It was like watching a school kids game. It was so, honestly, no wonder their TV viewing numbers are so bad. Great point. Total points we can get a 99. I can see us dropping 10 to 12 points. I don't know if 87 points would be enough. That's my worry if we are being real. I wouldn't even worry too much about points total. It's just about staying ahead of who's ever around you. I've already added Blaze's comment there as well. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that has tuned into the show. There's a super chat here. It says, speaking of availability, Bruno Fernandes only missed 2 games in his entire career through illness. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes' injury record is
Stupid, bro.
And by the way, again, what a performance from him at the weekend. This guy gets moved position, and still delivers. Legend of again, he's someone that a lot of United fans owe a massive apology to, because everyone's loving Ten Hag and Ten Hag loves him, making him his captain. Knew he would. Well done, Bruno, for being a star. Love it. Kaz, Igal, Tom, Have Hope, of course, George, thank you all very, very much indeed. We're back tomorrow. More content in the morning. Me and Lee Gunner in the afternoon for Straight Facts, and then reactions to the Champions League games for you, sponsored by Top. So make sure you're all tuning into the Terrace tomorrow. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.